What would you talk about if you were in a cafe with me today? What would you do? You have the sound, perhaps, of clinking cups and glasses. I'll take some calls. Here's one from a local caller in Russia. Kevin, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Savage. I'd like to just give a message to you from your fans in Europe and to tell you how important your message is to people here in Europe who do believe in the conservative vision. I'd like to remind you of Alexis de Tocqueville's basically statement on American democracy. When he wrote that thesis, it was a eulogy to American democracy, but for Europe, he was the first to realize that ideas came from the United States of America to Europe. And I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that your show has had a most European focus over the past few weeks, months, since your unfortunate banning in Britain. And I'd like you just to remind you that people are listening in Europe and are taking notice. And you're proving that Alexis de Tocqueville's theory is really realizing itself in practice. The fact that
Kevin, where are you right now? You're in Russia and you're listening to this show on the internet, is that right?
Exactly. I listen to the show, Dr. Savage, every day, and I try to spread the message here about...
But are you an American expat or are you a Russian citizen?
No. I'm a North American expat, Dr. Savage. That means that, I'm a North American expat, but I live here and work here in Russia. Yes, that's correct.
Well, let me ask you about Russia today. Do you find it's free in any way?
I think that Russia is free. Yes, one can do you can do what you want in Russia if you have enough money to do it. However, freedom is how should I say? It is really limited, and sometimes if you want to do in media, it is definitely limited in what you want to do. What the Russian government wants.
Well, if you want to do media in America, it's limited as well. As you understand, the media here are run by skells. You know that.
Exactly. In Russia, it's about...
There's no freedom of the press in America. Take a look at what's going on here. You've got skells on every network. So what's the difference between us and Russia? I'm reminded of what Aldous Huxley wrote in the 1950s, and I've quoted this only a few times on this show. Huxley was a genius, as you well know, one of my mentors in so many ways. And I mean Aldous, not Julian. And Aldous wrote that in the future, as East meets West, East will become more like West and West will become more like East. I think that is quite prophetic in the sense that as we have lost our freedoms, Russia has gained them.
This is true. Russia...
Now, what about the Islam problem in Russia? Putin takes no prisoners on that. Is that correct?
No, Putin is a very merciless man, but one thing I'd like to say is that Russia is a very unknown fact, is Russia is 20% Muslim.
Yes, I understand. In the certain district regions of Russia, the ex-Soviet Union, or Russia itself. Are you saying Russia per se or regions of the ex-Soviet Union?
No, Dr. Savage. The Russian Federation and the borders after 1991, 20% of the Russian Federation population is Muslim.
And so how does Putin deal with the radicals within?
Putin is merciless with the radicals within because, and the fact is, he does believe in his own way in borders, language, and culture.
That's right. He's a pure nationalist, which is why I actually respect him as a leader of his own country, speaking for his own people. In fact, I'm going to say it again in this air so there's no mistake. When George Bush encouraged the puppet in Georgia to provoke Russia, do you remember which side I took?
Dr. Savage, I'm a new listener.
I took the side of Russia because they had every right to protect their territorial integrity. I believe that Bush made one of the greatest blunders of his entire 8 years, him and Condoleezza Rice, for encouraging the puppet in Georgia to provoke Russia into that military adventure.
Exactly.
So what can I say to you other than, look, I could send you a copy of Banned in Britain if you'd like to stay on the line. We're going to press. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to press. I'll be right back.